Nom 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 nom. Oi.
Hello everyone, my name is Paulina and I'm a knitaholic. I love knitting. Welcome to my channel, Tikva Hobbies, about knitting and crochet. Here are my friends, Ginny and Gala. You've seen them in the intro and in the previous videos. Today I'm going to show you all my knitted garments, sweaters, mostly cardigans, everything which includes wool, because it's December now and I'm not gonna show you the tops today's just the knitted woolen stuff. For recurrent viewers, just a quick comment on what I'm working on at the moment and why I'm making this video. There are two things. First is that I've already done 2 tutorials on Christmas related stuff. These striped Christmas ornaments, crocheted. You could check them out, they're on the channel. And I've also knitted a Santa hat, red and white, very fluffy, and I'm keeping it in a bag because it's Angora and it sheds the hairs. So it's safer to keep it like this if you don't want your clothes to be covered in this fluffiness. It's super cute. I'm not gonna ruin my hair because it seems like it's a good hair day today for me, so check this out on the channel if you haven't already, and if you are watching it right after the release, you have about 3 weeks until Christmas, and it's more than enough to try this out. So I've done the Christmas tutorials and currently I'm intensively working on my bed cover, which you see right behind me. And it's over 130 centimeters now, and as Ginny and Gala promised, right? Actually, Ginny promised that she was going to finish it soon. And we know that soon can be, God knows when. So I decided to make sort of marathon, like people open advent calendars and I'm crocheting 3 centimeters of the bed cover a day, and I post stories once in 2 days in my Instagram. If you're interested, subscribe, check this out. So the bed cover is growing and I have little time left for any other projects because 3 centimeters, that's 6 rows, and it's approximately close to 3 hours of knitting a day, crocheting, pardon me. That's a lot, and not much time is left for other projects. Okay, so today I'm gonna entertain you. I'm wearing a top, sorry for the indecency, but I'm going to put on all this stuff and take it off. So I need to wear something comfy and my pajama bottoms, so feel at home. Pour yourself a cup of coffee, tea, cocoa, whatever you like, and join me in this video. Let's start with the first garment. That was long ago. This is a cardigan. I guess I've worn it in some of the videos, and it's a very old garment. Well, by very old, I mean I knitted it in early 2010s, I believe, because I was at uni at that time. And I used a pattern from Vogue Knitting. Oops. Sorry. From Vogue Knitting magazine. Can't remember the issue now. But the thing is that it was quite an undertaking, because not only does it have seams, but also it was my first garment. And I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna put it on. Let's put the mic here. And it has satin sleeves. It's buttoned. I remember that the pattern suggested using some cotton yarn or maybe cotton silk blend. Definitely it was not woolen. It was made in the magazine, it was made in green, and the girl was in some sort of stable, so it was some kind of horse riding theme. And she had braids, but that's not important. The thing is, I fell in love with that cardigan and I really wanted to make it, but I didn't need a cotton cardigan. Besides, at that time, the choice of yarns available in the shops was rather poor, and I looked more at the yardage rather than at the content. And the blend of wool and alpaca seemed fine for me at that moment. It made a nice cardigan. I've worn it quite a lot since then. It's 3/4 sleeves, and I love the color red, such a vibrant red. I really adore it. The only thing is probably that the sleeve should be, the seam here should be approximately about probably a centimeter closer to my center of the body. Well, if that makes sense, it should be a little bit like this. Yeah, it's too far away from my shoulder. It should start probably somewhere here. That would make it better, definitely. Could have made, but that was long ago. And it was the first garment, and I do remember I was struggling with the sleeve arm cap, decreases, increases, all this stuff, because somehow I needed a different number of rows, and I was following the pattern, but at the same time seemed like I was not following it at all. Just had these, if you see, there are also short rows. Oh, that's when I learned how to work the short rows, and well, they make these diagonal planks. Well, in here, plank, could I say it in this context? I'm not sure. So that is my first garment, knitted probably about 10 years ago, or approximately so. Probably slightly fewer, but more than 8, I believe. And I'm really hot in it. Let's put on something else. Next garment I've got here is a vest, but probably the sweater was before. No, I guess that the vest was first. I used the pattern by Brooklyn Tweed. I do not remember the name of the pattern, but I'll put it on the screen, as well as the year when I knitted it. I believe I could figure out approximately. And I really like this design. Even though the yarn I used is not perfect and it's not the best match for this pattern, because it's 50% synthetic fibers, acrylic, I believe, and only 50% wool. That's why when you look at it, you see that it's a bit shiny, sparkly. The synthetic fibers, they are visible. Still, again, I can say, oh, some hairs. That's natural when you wear garments. Back then, the choice of the variety of yarns in stores, and at that time I didn't order anything online. I just checked out the local stores, and I could find, if I could find the yarn which was approximately the same yardage as the pattern, and I was still learning back then using other people's patterns, which I still do at times, and nothing wrong about it. So the thing is, it's not the proper yarn for the garment. I'll put it on anyway. I'd say I've never worn it like this as a t-shirt. There was always some kind of shirt underneath. Yeah, and it fits me pretty well. It's a bit loose around the waist, but It's very comfy. I still have a plan, sort of a vague plan, to repeat this in a proper yarn, probably a tweedy yarn. But tweeds, they're not always best in stockinette, you know, they could, sometimes they behave not as they should in stockinette stitch. I don't know, just probably will try some woolen spun yarn and make another vest like this, because I really like the design. I like the sleeves, the fit, everything is great about this, apart from the fact that I made it not in the best of yarns. Never mind, that was learning, that was progress. Then later I also knitted another sweater using a Brooklyn tweed pattern. That was, not sure, I guess the pattern was called Alvi, but I'm gonna check this out. You'll see the pictures of the sweater on the screen. I cannot show this to you now because a couple years ago, yeah, I guess more than closer to 3 years ago, I washed it in a washing machine and it shrank. I don't know what happened to my mind, what was I thinking about at the time, because I know you are not supposed to wash sweaters in the washing machine unless you trust it 100%, and I didn't. Don't know, maybe I was washing socks before, and with socks it's fine, but with sweaters, which don't, especially those which have only natural fibers, and considering it was winter and the difference in temperature is deadly for sweaters when you first wash it in lukewarm water and then rinse it in bitter cold one, it's deadly, it can ruin your sweater. So that sweater shrank a couple sizes. I can still squeeze into it, I can try it on, but you know, it's got felted, and now it would suit probably a child or an only teen more than me. And it's currently at my mom's place, if she hasn't thrown it away yet. I was so sad about it and shocked, and how come, like, what were you thinking about? It was one of my favorite sweaters. It has a very beautiful satin sleeve with some kind of stripes here. Reminds of Guernsey fisherman sweaters. Great design, and again, now I wish I had more time to repeat those in better yarns, which are available in shops online and everywhere at the moment. I love that sweater, it was my favorite. I'll show you some pictures on the screen if I haven't already. Okay, this is going to be long. Let's look at the next one. This one is it's a raglan sweater, and it has a very long raglan line, and I knitted it following a tutorial on YouTube by a Russian knitter, and I'm not gonna delve into details because I believe most of you do not speak Russian and watch it in English. I'm streaming it, I'm shooting the videos in English, so that's not important information, I guess. The thing is with this sweater is that it should have been much more wider. It should have been. It's not wide enough. I'll show you again in a moment. Okay, here it is. Oh, that's just... Well, here it is, this sweater. I cannot say that I wear it anymore. Yeah, I don't wear it anymore. And there are a few things. First, I used woolen spun yarn here. It's a merino, but you know, it gets It's not super wash, and not worsted spun. It gets sticky when you wash it over time. It's very warm, really warm. It's my skin can get a little bit itchy, not much. I'm not really sensitive, but still a bit. And it's on the one hand it's too warm, and on the other it has an open neck, and the sleeves are also a little bit shorter, so I do not wear it. Besides, with such raglan, when the raglan line is so long, you cannot lift your arms very high, and I want my sweaters to be practical. So it used to be one of my favorites. At the time I wore it with a top, black top, and the stripes were seen here. It seemed nice to me at that moment, sort of sexy, but what could be sexy about the thing? Now I do not know. I'll put the year when it was knitted on the screen, and what I like about it though are the stripes that I added. Actually, the yarn was bought not for this sweater. I was planning to make a vest which was mosaic knitted. Yeah, that was mosaic knitted vest, but somehow I couldn't figure out the pattern, and at that time probably that was too hard for me, too difficult. It didn't work. Yeah, the project didn't work, and I made this one. The sleeves, I guess they were all right until I washed the sweater, and then I just decided not to. I could of course pick the stitches, unpick the finishing, the bind off, and knit a few centimeters. I didn't do it, and now I'm not gonna do it either. Probably only for wearing at home, although it's pretty warm and I do not need it at home. You could see I could wear a top and feel okay. So still, that was nice practice, and even though I said that the yarn is too warm for me, still I like woolen spun yarns which get sticky, and like my stitches, my stockinette looks great in this. I like this monolith material, fabric, just like it. The next one. This one is a cardigan, and I also followed a video tutorial on YouTube by Olga Kondrativa, just like for the previous jumper. And this one, I also wear it at home because it's way too large for me, very wide. And I realized that I prefer fitted garments, or at least closer to my body shape, if a little bit loose, but not too much, not oversized. And this is quite large. If you see, I can wrap myself like this, and it's very comfy. You cannot imagine. That was stock yarn, tweed stock yarn, partly merino, partly synthetic. I'd say it was like 80% merino, 20 polyamide or something. Very beautiful yogurt colored yarn. That, for me, that's the color of yogurt, like blackberry or like blueberry. Yeah, blueberry yogurt. And pink, goes very nice with gray. That's why I made the finishing, the bands in gray. It also has embroidered stripes in gray using a crochet hook. Actually, when I knitted this, those were lines of purl stitches. So stockinette, all knit stitches, purl stitch, a couple knit stitches, a purl stitch, and those stitches formed the dent. I would say just a little bit low. Here it allows to embroider using a contrast color. So that's a good trick if you want to work some kind of checkerboard, right, pattern with stripes like this, with stripes, checked patterns. So you could use this trick. And it's also the first time when I was really fiddly with tapestry needle, because you can see the finishing. I used a lot of tapestry needle work. The sleeves finishing. Here I also picked the stitches. It looks how this is made is pretty nice. That was a huge progress for me to practice. And here it's all also bind off, and this is elastic bind off also. When you use tapestry needle, you see how long this is. That was a lot of work, and now probably I could say that that wasn't worth it, considering that I wear this thing at home. I sound a little bit pessimistic today. I don't know why. Probably we could learn a lesson that when you go for a bigger garment, for a huge project, and when you're going to learn something new, do not be afraid to try new, probably more expensive yarns that you have tried before, because it's gonna be more rewarding in the end, and you're not going to put it in the closet and never wear it again in your life. So that's probably what we could learn from all my monologue, from all my criticizing my work. Okay, the hoodie. It's the only knitted hoodie I have in my wardrobe, and it's also knitted. It was also knitted when I followed it's itchy, sorry, Olga's tutorials on YouTube. At that time I was her huge fan, and when I saw that she was releasing some interesting pattern, like not pattern, tutorial on YouTube, I was really eager to try that out. I'm still a fan. I can appreciate her work, and she is doing a lot to teach people how to knit and to do it well and professionally. But at the moment I try to think more what I personally need. Well, I don't want to offend anyone by saying this. The hoodie is great. I like it. And it was also a little bit of a challenge, because I had never knitted a hoodie before, and it has a pouch pocket, and it looks, if you look, this is what it looks inside, very neat. Plus the hood, you can actually put it on, although it's not what I usually do. It's just for the sporty casual style. I remember that I had to make the sleeves a little bit longer after washing. That's why it's the ribbon is slightly longer than at the bottom. And the only thing I want to say is that we don't have many days when I can wear a hoodie without putting on a jacket, and I cannot combine this with a jacket properly. You probably need a thin leather jacket, which would be without any collar. Because of the hood, it gets messy below the coat. And I wear it for only a few days a year. And sometimes in my videos you've probably seen me wearing it. If I were to make this garment again, I would probably take not superfine merino. That's, by the way, what I was using. It was stock merino, and it was super fine. I would probably take something fluffier to make it more fancier. Probably take some sequins or metallic thread to make it even more fancier. fancier. Yeah, why do I need more? And I would go without a pouch because I'm not the thinnest of girls, not the slimmest one, and you know, pocket on your belly, well, somehow for me, I don't feel like I need it. I'd probably go without it next time if I ever try it again. Next garment. Next one. I'm not saying anything critical about this one because I love it. And it's probably one of the few, very few garments I've knitted which I have nothing to complain and regret about. This is a yoke sweater. You can see it has no raglan lines. All the increases are spread in the rows. And I was not following a pattern, but my mom was doing a course on yoke sweaters, and I sort of peeked my eye into her notes and was really eager to try it too, which I did. And I'd had that eggplant merino cashmere blend for a while back then, and somehow it was too thin for a sweater, and I couldn't apply it. I couldn't use it in any of my projects. But when we added that ultraviolet mohair thread, it changed the thing. It changed the deal completely, and now it's one of my favorite sweaters. This is stockinette, a few rounds of seed stitch or moss stitch here, and the sleeves also have it. I probably need to, now it's been worn for a while and it's got a bit, it shrank a little bit. The sleeves should probably be a centimeter longer, but okay, I said I was not going to criticize it anyhow. And it also has extra rows here at the back. Right when you finish the yoke, you work extra short rows at the back so that your neck doesn't go this way. So your back part is longer than the front, and the sweater doesn't start choking you. This is it. Love it. I guess the color is very complementary. To the next project. All right. This is also one of my favorite things. I actually followed the pattern Friday in You by Enkelstrick, if I'm not mistaken in her name. I'm sorry. I'll put it on the screen. And it's a blend. This one is a blend of merino and either cotton or linen. That's why it's a little bit rough when you touch it. It's closer to cotton yarn rather than to wool. Not very soft, but I like it this way because I am really comfortable wearing it in early autumn or in spring when you don't need a really warm sweater. It still has a pin that I ordered from AliExpress. I ordered quite a bunch of them about knitting. This one says knit fast, dye warm. So it's such a punk rock stuff. I just like it. What I changed about it, I believe I couldn't get the same gauge as the author recommended, although my yarn was very similar, probably like 20 meters difference from the original yarn, but I couldn't. My hands wouldn't need the proper number of stitches and rows in 10 centimeters somehow. And I had to change everything for myself. I followed the pattern, but I had to change the number of stitches, when to increase and how much. And I should have started this. It's a raglan construction, but I should have started this phase of the raglan a bit earlier, because you see, it should be. Still, it's wearable, and I also changed the fact that I my finishing, I use tapestry needle here and at the bottom, and also I added a contrasting colored embroidery on the sleeves in the center. Oh no, here on the sides I don't have it, just the original stitches, and I also added a contrasting color here because if you take away the orange, can you see the color is not very becoming? It makes me look as if now I'm wearing at least a bit of makeup. When I don't, I look like a zombie when I wear it. And especially back then, I had my natural hair color, which is rather fair and not red. With this, didn't work. Now, with a little bit of orange, it works better, and it's probably one of my most worn sweaters now because it's not super hot but not cold, and sometimes, especially when you are inside the building indoors, this works best. To the next one. Next one is a vest. I used a pattern from Tudor Roses book by Alice Starmore. The pattern was Elizabeth of York. Oh, yeah, it should be. It should have been. Oh, my mind fails me. Never mind, I'll put it on the screen, and I have a separate video on this vest. I'm not gonna talk much about this. I love the pattern itself. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. I had to change it for my figure, for my shape, since I wanted it a little bit longer, and somehow I wanted it to fit my measurements. If I could, I would probably decrease this part somehow, sew it in, because when you have fair isle knitting, you cannot work darts. It's easy when you work stockinette, you can add darts. I guess I had darts in some of the projects. Okay, I had darts in my top, which I worked, which I'm not gonna show today. But in fair isle you cannot work any darts. Unfortunately, this would make it much better. Still, that was my first fair isle project, quite a challenge at that time. And if you want to learn more about this very vest, check out the podcast episode about it. It was either episode 2 or 3. I'll put it on the screen and below the video. Another cardigan. Actually, I was planning to make a cardigan for my wedding because even though it was summer, I was afraid that it might be chilly or windy. You never know. One day it's sunny, the other one it's cloudy and raining and stuff. I bought a pattern with very intricate lace and errands, very delicate and nice. I bought the yarn, which is a blend of alpaca and silk by Drops. I'm not sure I remember the name, but I'll try to find out when I edit the video. But those two didn't work together. I changed the needle numbers, and somehow the pattern itself, yeah, those errands, they were very loose in alpaca silk blend. I should have probably thought about it before buying the yarn, but I had not much experience with alpaca silk blends and with silk blends in general. I thought it would just make it nice and floaty, but at the same time I guessed that it would have shape, which it didn't. So I had to change my plan and worked a cardigan, which is stockinette. It has a little bit of a, not exactly a drop shoulder, like a shirt, like in shorts, yeah, a little bit dropped, but not much. I should have probably worked a proper satin sleeve and started it sooner, because I don't know, it's dropped, but not dropped like this or like this, just a little bit, and now I sort of regret that decision. Oh no, it doesn't have darts. Satin sleeve, and I remember this time I tried it the hardest way. I measured myself and drafted a mock-up on the paper and then used fabric and then sewed it and tried it on, changed it, and only then started knitting and put my parts on the fabric to make sure that everything fitted. But I couldn't make it until the wedding, but it was about 30 degrees Celsius on that day, and I didn't really need a cardigan at all. Finished it a bit later, still like it, wear it in the summer, and I had to make the band crocheted. I crocheted it because it just, when I just used moss stitch, it didn't work at all in this yarn. It was very slopey and lost shape all the time. I like it unbuttoned more because here somehow the first couple buttons, top one, you see, I don't like it. And as I cannot change it now, and I'm not gonna change it anyway, I usually wear it either unbuttoned or button only from the third button like this. Put it on top of a shirt or not a shirt, a t-shirt or some kind of summer top in the evening just to keep warm. And it's actually the last garment but one. Only one is left, and you've probably seen the sweater on the channel. I'll show it in a moment. This one is a proper winter sweater because it's drops air and it's very soft, light and warm at the same time, and I love the feel of it. Originally I bought the yarn to make hats, and I've got 2 hats made of drops air crocheted, by the way, and these are my favorite winter hats. I love them. And what I had left, I put in the stripes, plus bought some extra green yarn. And the only thing with this is that the dye loads were different, and maybe you can see it, it's slightly different. This one is slightly lighter and cooler tones, and this one it's more yellow. But anyway, it's so warm and so cozy and so fluffy. It's really the best. I should have started the stripe. Well, again, I say what I would like to change. This is me being so controlling and regretting and so on. I probably should change it, but if you don't, you never learn, right? You need to learn a lesson and try not to do the same, not to make the same mistake again. So the first stripe, you see, I should have probably started it a bit lower, probably 2 centimeters, an inch lower. It would have changed it. It would have changed it and made it better. Still, I like the finishing. I like everything about this sweater. It's so cozy, and I've worn it, although I cannot wear it with my winter coat because it's way too warm. I've worn it with an autumn coat, and it was so cozy. I felt so secure and warm, and it's the best. It's so cozy that I'm not eager to take it off now, even though I'm getting a bit warm and hot. And as I'm currently working on the bed cover, I cannot start any garment yet. I am to finish it, but as soon as I finish this, and until I need to think of some St. Valentine's related tutorial, which I would like you to give me any ideas about. I have some, but I'm still not sure what to make. And if you have any wishes or ideas connected with St. Valentine's and what you would like me to crochet or knit, please post it in the comments below. I will be really grateful to read those. Next garment. I figured out that I want something cropped and fitted, because I've started wearing more skirts and dresses, especially rather flared ones. So I need my top to be rather fitted and finish at the waistline, or maybe a couple centimeters below. And I don't have such garments. All my sweaters are a little bit longer, and when I put them on with skirts, it just makes my legs shorter and my torso way too long, and I need the opposite. I need my legs to be longer and my torso maybe a bit shorter, although I don't have a very long torso. Okay, I'm being very chatty today. So, I've got perfect yarn for this. Mohair, silk, kid silk mohair, 70% mohair and 30 silk, and it's a gorgeous color. I am a fan of blue shades, and originally I wanted to make it only mohair. Very fine needles, a little bit see-through but not too much. But then I decided to add this blend of merino and something else. I do not remember. This is stock yarn. I was mostly focusing on the color shade, and they are a perfect match. It's a little bit darker, so the color should turn out to be something in between. And as I love blues, it will be a great project, I guess, to start the new year with. So in January I'm planning to knit this. It will have a neck. It will be a raglan sweater, but not closer to Friday New raglan. So it will go like this. It will be a four satin sleeve, like an imitation of satin sleeve or something like that. And it will be cropped. And it might have 2x2 ribbon here and at the cuffs. Don't know yet. I might change everything in January. Now I'm currently working on the bed cover, and it's finally growing. It's over 50%. And if nothing happens, I will finish it by New Year. So this is it. These are all my garments. I've got quite a pile to the left of me. Jeannie and Gala and me, we wish you Merry Holidays and great knitting projects. Don't be afraid to start garments. And have all the best. Have a nice weekend, if it's Friday or Saturday, whichever day. See you in the next video, and bye!